What's going on, guys? This is the RPO podcast. We are back live with you. This is your favorite college football podcast. I'm your humble host, Ron Jones. I got my man Ray Roberts. How you doing today, Ray?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. I hope y'all out there being safe. You're cooking now, getting some grub on. I wish I had some grub right now, but let's talk some football because we've been away for about a week and we're having a special podcast. So if you guys are just coming in, if you don't know how we do it here, we have live interactions talking about the draft today. So if you have any questions, if you want to ask us anything, please feel free to do so. We are live on Facebook, we are live on Twitter, and we're live on YouTube. And if you're on the YouTube channel, please do us a favor and subscribe and like or share it to your friends so they can see it, so we can have a good interaction and good company with you guys. We love when you have your comments here, so please do so as much as possible. But Ray, are you ready to wrap up this draft season right now?
I am.
Let's do this. I'm so happy right now to get done with this. So we're going to do this right now. We're going to start off with the first team that we have right here, which is the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears in the first round got Justin Fields. Second round, they got Tevin Jenkins. Fifth round, they got Larry Barone. Sixth round, they got Khalil Herbert, Zach Newsome, Thomas Graham Jr., and in their seventh round pick, they got I hope you get how to say his name. I want to say Chris every time I say it, but it's
Kyrus Tonga.
Kyrus Tonga from BCO. So, Ray, I want to hear, what grade did you give the Bears this year?
I gave them an A. I mean, I have multiple teams with A. I gave them a solid A. Like I have one team that I gave an A+ to, and I have a couple of teams I gave an A- to, but I had the Bears with a solid A. And it's because I like most of their picks. And, yeah, man, it took a lot to get from 19 or 20 up to 11 and take your franchise quarterback. And I think they've done that. And kudos to them, man. They needed to make a move for a quarterback, and they got it done. So
definitely. I think the Bears, I want to give them an A, but it was a really good draft. I'm going to give them a B+. I think they got their quarterback of the future. You trade up to get him. They got an offensive lineman that can protect them, not just one, but a few of them, just in case. They got a really good backup in Khalil Herbert that we've seen in the Senior Bowl. Got a slot receiver in Newsome. Thomas Graham, who I got to see at the Senior Bowl as well. I think that he was a good addition for that DB room, give him some depth right there. So I'm not going to give him an A per se. I will give him a B+. The reason why I want to give him an A is that it's a little too. I mean, they didn't have a lot of middle round pick. They have a third round pick and a fourth round pick. They got a lot of depth players. I mean, the Justin Fields was the best pick, obviously.
I did give him an A because I think to get your franchise quarterback is big. I think they got Tevin Jenkins, who was a first-round talent in the second round. Mm-hmm. I think they got Khalil Herbert, who I had as a fourth-round talent in the sixth round. They got Daz Newsome, who's a nice slot player. Thomas Graham, who I think is going to excel with special teams. And Kyrus Tonga, who's a nice 0-1 gap, defensive tackle. I like their draft. And, again, to get Herbert in the fourth as a fourth-round talent and to be a nice – mixed change up with David Montgomery, who's their other back. And again, they move up from 20 to get your franchise quarterback. That's a lot of maneuverability, and that's a very nice move, I think.
Definitely. No, I agree, Greg. I agree. I just didn't want to give them a straight A. Let's move on to our next team. It's going to be the LA Chargers. So LA Chargers in the first round, they got Rashawn Slater. Second round, they got Asante Samuel Jr. Third round, they got Josh Palmer and Trey McKitty. The fourth round, they got Chris Rump. The second, fifth round, they got Brayton James. Sixth round, they got Nick Newman and Larry Roundtree. And in the seventh round, they got Mark Webb. Ray, how did you grade these guys?
I gave them a B minus. I thought they had a solid draft. I wasn't as high in them as I have been on other teams. I think that I'm not a big Trey McKitty fan. I think he's a solid player. He's a good blocker. Chris Rump, I like I didn't have him right. Like with my grades, yeah, I did some of it on guys I like, obviously. But then I kind of looked where I thought the players should be drafted and where they were drafted, and that's where I came with a little bit of higher marks for certain guys. I think the Chargers said I like Rashawn Slater as a guy who can come in and play on the offensive line. I like Asante Samuel. I like Josh Palmer as a nice wide receiver who can give you some depth. I'm not a big McKitty fan. That's why I knocked their grade down a little bit. To get Brendan James, I think is a solid player. He's a rotation guy. He's not going to start for you right away, but he is a guy you can progress and get him up on the field. Nick Neiman, the linebacker from Iowa, I like as a special teams guy. I'm not big on Larry Roundtree. I think he's solid. And Mark Webb, I like from Georgia as a guy who can come in and do a little bit of stuff for you as a different in the box safety. He's not really a super athlete, but I gave him a solid B minus. So
yeah, I give him a B plus actually. I like their draft as well. Getting Rashad Slater, they needed offensive line. They really rebuilt their offensive line this offseason. I love that, especially now they got a franchise quarterback. Going in the second round, getting Asante Samuel Jr., I thought that was great. I think their secondary is going to be extremely nice, especially in the next couple of years. They got a lot of young guys on that defense that are very talented and very fast. So I think that's going to be a really good defense. Josh Palmer, I think he was one of the sleeper receivers. I think he still got picked a little early because there was some guys on the board I think that should have been picked before him. But I thought he was a really solid player, a guy that can contribute. Trey McKitty, again, I don't dislike him the way you do. I think he's very athletic tight end. I think that the problem is that he might have got drafted too early. I think that's your problem with him.
Yeah, I didn't have him as a third round guy, and his hands are inconsistent. I think he is a solid athlete, but I worry about guys that don't catch the ball cleanly. Like the ball will hit his hands, he has to recatch it. Yeah, that scares me a little bit. I mean, like again, he's playing with a good quarterback and get the ball to him, so I think he'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Brandon James, the guy that Inside the Hatches got a chance to interview, I think he was a really good, solid backup guy that he can possibly become a starter, depending on how he develops. So I think they did a very good job. I gave him a B plus. Let's get to our next team, which is the New York Giants. New York Jets. My apologies. In the first round, they got Zach Wilson, and they also got Elijah Via Tucker. Their second round, they got Elijah Moore. Fourth round, they got Michael Carter, the running back, because they got two Michael Carters. Fifth round, they got Jamian Sherwood. They also got Michael Carter too, the corner. So they got two Michael Carters, which is funny. Jason Pinnock, the cornerback. Hamshawn Nasir-Ladine. Yeah. In the sixth round, Brandon Echoes and Jonathan Marshall. So, Ray, what do you think about their grades?
I gave him a B minus. I think that a lot of this stuff will depend on how good the quarterback turns out to be, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I think that he, again, if he turns out to be, what a franchise type quarterback will be fine. I like Vera Tucker. I wasn't crazy about the fact that they moved up to take him. Mm-hmm. That's not something I would have done. I like Elijah Moore. I think they drafted him in the second round. I think it's a little bit early for him. I like Michael Carter. I think probably him and Vera Tucker are probably the two best picks I think they had out of the first four rounds. Mm-hmm. Again, I like Vera Tucker. I don't like the fact that they moved they lost capital to move up to get him. But I think he's a good player, and it's going to make the left side of their offensive line probably better than it's been in quite a while. I like Jamian Sherwood from Auburn. I liked him more as a 6th or 7th round guy, but I think he's going to come in and do some things for you on special teams. Jason Pinnock, the cornerback from Pittsburgh, he's a slow, not a great athlete, but I think he can come in and add some versatility and actually do some stuff for you again in special teams. I like Nazardine. I like the safety from Florida. I had him as a 4th round pick. They took him in the 6th round. I think that's good value where they got him. And I think he'll come out and do some things for you on special teams. Jonathan Marshall, I think, is a solid player, defensive tackle from Arkansas. Again, I like their draft. I think it was solid. Again, is it B-?
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B. Zach Wilson, like you say, is a big question mark. I agree with your take on ABT. Elijah Moore was – I think he got drafted a little too early. There's other receivers, I think, but he's a versatile wide receiver. I think he's going to replace the guy they got from Washington a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean the thing that I like about it is that unlike when they had Sam Darnold, they started right away putting offensive players around him, which is always a good thing for Zach Wilson. I think the worst thing the Jets did was they didn't put enough good players around Sam Darnold, and the offensive line wasn't good. If your offensive line isn't good, you're going to struggle anyway. Mm-hmm. But to have pedestrian receivers and have a bad offensive line, how did you expect the quarterback to succeed is the question.
Yeah, definitely. Michael Carter was a great pick. I liked him coming out of UNC.
Yeah.
And Jamie Sherwood, a guy that we interviewed on Inside the Hatches, I think he's a good, solid guy that you can have in, like you said, Ray, special teams, and hopefully maybe one day he can become a starter.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our next one. We got the Cleveland Browns. They got first-round pick Greg Newsome, cornerback from Northwestern. Second round, they got your guy, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think I said it right now.
You did.
Nice. Third round, they got Anthony Shorts. Fourth round, they got James Hudson. They also had Tommy Togulai. I think that's how you say his last name.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth round, they got Tony Fields. And also they got Richard LeCount. And sixth round, they got Demetrius Felton. Ray, how do you give them a grade?
I gave them an A+. They're the only team I did give an A+ to. I think, again, they've done – Baker Mayfield kudos, man, because they keep putting – Cleveland has a good roster, and they keep adding good players round. Of course, I like the guys they took. Of course, I like Owusu-Koramoah. I think he was he was a first-round talent who's slipped to the second round because he has some kind of a heart condition. I don't know exactly what that is, obviously, but they felt comfortable enough to take him. And I know the kid's a stud athlete. Mm-hmm. He can do everything. He can play on the back end. You can play him at safety. Yep. He's not a great open field tackler, so that is something he's going to have to work on. But he gets there, so that's really half the battle. So I love the kid. I think James Hudson was a second or a third round player who they got in the fourth round. I think Tommy Tugai, however you want to say it, he's a very good depth guy from Ohio State. Tony Fields, who I like from West Virginia. Richard LeCount, safety from Georgia. Demetri Felton, all guys that should have been fourth round picks, third round picks, and they got them all in the fourth and fifth round. I think they had a great draft. I do. I
gave them a. I didn't give them A+. I gave them A. I think I'm dumbing down my grades a little bit from yours, but Greg Newsome was a great pick. I think he was going to be a really good safety corner. Especially with Greedy Williams and the other kid they got. Forgetting his name right now. But those guys have been getting injured the last couple of years. So having a guy to come in, hopefully he does well. And if he does well, you got three good corners. You need corners in this league. So the more corners you have, the better.
I think their offense was pretty stacked last year. Mm-hmm. And then you add a guy like Anthony Schwartz who can take the top end off the defense.
Correct.
You add some players in Owusu-Koramoah, and Tony Fields and Tommy Tugay who can help the defense. Demetri Felton was a 4th-round slot kid who could play some running back. I really think the Browns. I mean, and anybody who knows me knows I'm not a Browns fan, and I don't usually. I don't like. I'm one of these guys that like. They've been predicting Cleveland was going to be good for the last few years. Finally, last year, they actually made that step.
Yeah.
Now, here's the hardest part about being good. Following up with another good year.
Exactly.
But if you look at their draft, they've done a lot of good things in their draft for the last 10 years, really.
Yeah, having JOK in there, like you say, supposed to be a first-round pick. Behind that defensive line, they got Clowney and they got Myles Garrett. That's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Get him more freedom to fly around, things like that. Anthony Schwartz, like you said, a speedster on the outside, and pair him up with Landry, OBJ, and I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is a sleeper receiver that developed really good at the end of the year. And one of my favorite picks they had also was Richard LeCounte, the safety. I think that he can contribute. Even if he's not their starter, I still think he can contribute in in a 3 safety sets or however you want to do stuff, things like that. So I thought that was a great draft.
With LeCounte, you'll see him come in and he'll be your 3rd safety. Maybe if you play 2 linebackers like on passing downs, he come up and do some things for you as far as run in the run game too.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I look at Cleveland's draft, and again, I'm just looking at guys where they got and in what rounds, and I think they had a really, really good draft. So
I agree. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got the Detroit Lions, and they got Penei Levi on Winsruke. 3rd round, they got Elam McNeil. They also got Ifantu Melifanu. I believe I said that right. 4th round, they got Aaron St. Brown, Derek Barnes, and in the 7th round, they got Jamar Jefferson, the running back out of Oregon State. Right. Where did you trade this graph?
I gave them an A-, maybe a B+. I thought that, again, getting Penei Sewell was basically a no-brainer. They probably got a top 5 talent in the 6th pick. I mean, in the 7th pick. And it's a guy who'll come in and play for you right away, and you need offensive line for that team. I like Onwuzurike from Washington. I think he's a versatile chess piece. He's a guy who can do a lot of different things from the defensive tackle position. And I like Alan McNeil from the NC State, too. I think that again, they went in there and they hit a couple of home runs with guys who come in and help your defensive line right away.
I agree.
And Melifonwu, who I had going in the 2nd round, maybe 3rd round, early in the 3rd round. They got him at the end of the 4th round. I mean, the end of the 3rd round. And I think he's a kid to come in and do some things for you. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, again, I had as a 3rd. I mean, it's not, and with him, it's not even where you took him. He's another guy who can come in here and play in the slot for you, add some versatility, get the ball to him in space, and let him do his thing. And Jamar Jefferson, I think, is a good all-around, like, little utility type back. I think they had a good draft.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I'm gonna give them. I was stuck between a B and a B+. I'm thinking I'm gonna give them a B+. Penei Sewell was the best top 3 player in this draft. They got him in the 7th spot right there.
Yep.
So I think that was a great pick. I thought if they would have passed on them, I would have been mad at them myself, and I'm not even nowhere near a Lions fan. I found Melifonwu in the 3rd round was I think it was a steal. I was hoping the Eagles actually got him in the 3rd round. They didn't, and the Lions got him at the end of the 3rd. I thought it was a steal. I was like, how the heck the Eagles didn't get him? St. Brown, St. Brown is a solid receiver they can have. Now I don't think he's gonna come in and just replace Galladay, obviously, but he's a solid guy. We'll see how the receiver room looks this year, but he's a solid guy. I think they got a couple of solid guys there. I don't think they got a number 1 yet, so we'll see how that goes. So that's why I dumped down their grade just a little bit, because I thought they could have got a number 1 receiver. at least.
I think that if what you're going to see with the Lions this year is they have good running backs. They're probably going to try to lean on them running backs to help out the quarterback. So
that's true.
Which would make sense. And you got Dan, and as the head coach there, and he's a former tight end, and he was a really good blocker. So I see them going the Cleveland route where they take the ball out of the quarterback's hands and try to run the ball 25 times a game to see how it falls for them. So
definitely, we'll see how that goes. All right, next team we got your favorite team, the Miami Dolphins. First round pick they got Jalen Waddles. Their other first round pick was Jalen Phillips. Their second round pick was Javon Holland. Another second round pick was Liam Effenberg. Third round pick they got Hunter Long. Seventh round pick they got Lanell Coleman, and also second round pick they got Jared
Dokes, running back from Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So Ray, don't be biased.
You know what? I gave him an A. I gave him an A-. I thought they had a good draft. I thought. I mean, I love Waddle. I'm not gonna lie. At the time I wanted them to take Penei Sewell. Mm-hmm. I really did, but the fact that they came back and got Eichenberg later on in the draft kind of took the sting out of that a little bit for me. I don't think he's Penei Sewell, but I think Miami is another team who's going to try to not even run the ball, just get the ball out of Tua's hands really quickly. They added a lot of speed to the offense this year. I mean, I like Miami's draft. I've seen people. Here's the thing. They do a thing in, I forget what site it was I was in, where they rate the best athletic drafts. And Miami had the number one most athletic draft. Now, I don't know exactly how they determine that. I think it's size to speed, player position to speed. And anytime you add a player like Waddle and a guy as athletic as Jalen Phillips to your edge rushers, and Hunter Long, who basically – people talk about Kyle Pitts, and I'm not saying this guy, he's Pitts. He's not. But he caught more balls than any tight end in college football last year. So there's a reason for that.
For sure. Yeah, I gave the Dolphins a solid B+. I was leaning toward an A. Jalen Waddle was a great pick. I was just more thinking that they could have got a little bit of bigger receiver. Chase Young, I'm sorry, not Chase Young. Jamar Chase, sorry. He was off the board already, so I think Jalen Waddle was the best receiver y'all could have got, especially pairing him with Tua. Jalen Phillips was the player that I predicted in our mock draft on Air It Out podcast. So if you haven't seen that, if you want to go back and see that, it's on our YouTube channel. I predicted that. I was super excited. I was like, hey, I got one right. So that was one of the guys I predicted going to Miami. He stayed in Miami. Jalen Holland, I think I like Jalen Holland. Don't get me wrong when I say this, but I thought that there was another safety that you guys could have got was a little bit better. But I think I think me and Ray was talking about this before. He's the guy that might have fit y'all system better, and you guys liked him a little bit better. It was close anyway. It wasn't like it was a huge difference between the safety for me. So I like that. Ethan Bird, I thought could have been a close to a first round pick. I got to see him a lot, and I thought that he was a really good offensive lineman. I got to see him at the Senior Bowl as well. Hunter Long was the one that I was like, about, because I felt like there was more better tight ends, but Ray kind of convinced me that, hey, he fits better with Gesicki than probably the other tight ends. And after thinking about it, I like the pick now. So that's just how I feel about that one.
I think if you when they first took Holland, I thought, well, why did they take Trayvon Merwin there? Yeah. I did think that too, but apparently Brian Ferez loves the guy and had targeted him and told everybody. And there's an association between Holland and.
Ooh, I lost Ray. So. I'm not sure where Ray just went, so I'm going to go solo dolo with this right now. Ray is our analyst, so hopefully he can come back, and I'll just hold it down for him. But I think Ray was just saying exactly what I was just saying as far as Jalen Holland, that he was doing a really good job as far as being the guy that the Dolphins probably wanted more than just Moe. So I'm going to go to the 49ers. Let's get to them. The first round pick, they had Trey Lance. Second round pick, they had Aaron Banks. Third round pick, they had Trey Sermon. Another third round pick, they had Ambry Thomas. Of course, my Go Blue guys, Go Blue. Anyway, fifth round pick, they had Jalen Moore. They also had, I always mess up his name, Diamondre Leonard. And also they had the safety from USC, Talanio Halafanga, and sixth round pick they had Eli Marshall. So we got Ray back in the building. Let's see what's going on. Hey Ray.
Yeah, something happened with the internet connection, man. I'm back on now, so
it's all good. It's all good. Things happen.
Okay.
Things happen. All right, so we're going to move on to the 49ers, Ray. I just talked about the guys that they drafted. Ray, do you have a grade for the 49ers?
I do. I have a San Francisco. Where's my paperwork here? Wrong one.
Well, I'm going to say I'll give them a B. Trey Lance was a great pick. I like that. There's a guy that can develop. They can develop behind Jimmy Garoppolo, get a couple of years out of Jimmy G and allow Trey Lance to really develop. I do think he's going to become the starter at some point this season. I'm going to take the full year like Patrick Mahomes, but we'll see. We'll never know. Maybe Jimmy G starts off hot and then, they can leave Trey Lance in the back and, not playing. Aaron Brooks Banks was a really good pick, guy from Notre Dame. Ray knows really well. I liked him a lot. Trey Sermon was a great pick. I like Trey Sermon. I actually was hoping the Eagles would have got him in the third round. I like both of the third round picks. Ambry Thompson is another DB that they can bring in, and he'll be good. Pairing him up with another DB I like, the DB from TCU. I've lost on his name right now. Got his face in my head, but he been playing really well after coming into the league, very injury prone. A guy that Ray, me and your son Ryan will talk about all the time. He knows how much I love him. I can't remember his name right now though. But I think Ambry Thompson paired up with him would be a great pick. I still think the 49ers might still try to go back out and get Sherman. We'll see how that goes. Especially this week, I think a lot of teams are going to be picking up a lot of free agents this week after that June 1st deadline thing. And then Eli Mitchell in the sixth round was another good running back, another guy that they can pair up in that backfield. The 49ers like to run, and they show that they like to rotate with those running backs. So I think that was a great pick. What do you think, Ray?
I actually gave him a C+, Jerome.
Wow.
I of course I like Trey Lance. I like Aaron Banks from Notre Dame, offensive guard. I think that they took him a little earlier than I would have, but I think he's good. And even though I like Trey Sermon, I don't think he fits their offense. They're a zone running, stretch it out team, and you got a guy who wants to run off guard, dude. He's not that guy. I mean, I think they'll get a little bit out of him, but I like Ambry Thomas from Michigan. I think he's a good, solid football player. I had him in the fourth round. They took him in the third. Jalen Moore is a developmental kid who may play. DeMondre Lenore, I think, is a solid player. But again, the guy needs a lot of development, needs to get way stronger up top. I mean, Hufanga, the safety from USC, I think is a good, solid player. And Eli Mitchell is a good, solid player. I think they had an okay draft. I wasn't, except for their first two. I don't see anybody they drafted that's going to help them right away, though. You know what I mean? So
definitely. All right, let's go to my favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. First round pick, they got Devontae Smith. Second round pick, Dickerson. Third round pick, they got Milton Williams. Fourth round pick, they got Zach McPherson. 5th round pick, they got Kenny Gainwell. 6th round pick, they got Marlon Tuipulotu. 6th round pick, they got Taryn Jackson. They also got Jacoby Stevens in the 6th round pick, and then their 7th round pick, they got Patrick Johnson. Ray, what do you think about these picks?
I gave the Eagles an A minus. I thought they had a really good draft. I did. I thought they had a good draft. I do have questions about Landon Dickerson staying healthy, but if he stays healthy, he's a good player. I thought they had a good draft. I thought, like most people, Devontae Smith was a no-brainer. You needed wide receivers. The guy fell to you. He's an impact player. I mean, if you get the ball out of your hands, and I'm sure that's going to be the plan since they have a quarterback who needs to get the ball out of his hands quickly because he's not that big of a guy.
Yeah.
A lot of it will depend on if Landon Dickerson can stay healthy, but if he stays healthy, he's a good football player. I like Milton Williams, defensive tackle from Louisiana Tech. I thought Zach McPherson was more of a 5th-round player, but he's a kid who's a press corner who will probably give you some depth like down the road. I love Kenneth Gainwell. That's probably my favorite. That and Devontae Smith are probably my favorite picks of your draft. I thought the Eagles had a really good draft. And they got Jacoby Stevens, who was a 3rd or 4th-round prospect who they got in the 6th round. I mean, I think – and Patrick Johnson, the guy from Tulane, is a good, solid athlete. I thought, again, a lot of this will depend on if Landon Dickerson can stay healthy. But if he does, you had a really good draft, and the guys are going to help you in the next year or two get better. I mean, the Eagles draft if I were an Eagles fan, has made me feel a lot better about where they're going as opposed to where they've been, to be honest with you.
I 100% agree with that. I agree with that.
I mean, I'm not – God.
I'm not going to go crazy like you did and give them an A. I'm going to give them a B. It was flat out B, and here's why. There's a lot of ifs with this draft. I think
every draft, though, Jerome.
That's true, Ray, but you got a Devontae Smith who is a Heisman-winning wide receiver, which is really, really good, but he's small. That's an if. Really small. Then you got your 2nd-round pick, Landon Dickerson, who I think was a really good pick. Again, injury-prone, a huge if. You got 3rd-round pick, Milton Williams. Again, I like Milton Williams. Don't get me wrong. He's a very athletic defensive tackle. But, dude, there were so many other players there. And we talked about it earlier. Malifonwu was there. We could have got him in the 3rd round. There's a lot of cornerbacks that we could have gotten. The Eagles desperately need a cornerback too. Zach McPherson in the 4th round, I like him. He's not going to be a starter though, and we need another starter on the outside. Kenneth Gainwell was easily my favorite pick of this draft. He did take off last year, so that's another if. So we'll see. I think he's still going to be okay, but we'll see. Marlon Tuipulotu. Never can say his name. Yeah. I think he's a solid defensive tackle that can be in the rotation. Taryn Jackson, the guy that we interviewed for the Inside the Hashes, great personality. I think that he's going to be a guy that's going to work his toe off. I think, and again, that was one of those guys that I was just looking at him like he's such an Eagles type of player because he reminded me of Brandon Graham, and the Eagles got him, of course. Jacoby Stevens, love that pick. But he's an if, but he's going to be playing a lot more linebacker than safety this year. So we'll see how it goes. He did play a little bit of linebacker, but we'll see. And then Patrick Johnson, they're going to take him from defensive end to linebacker. Another if. So, again, I like the draft itself, but there's so many ifs because there's not – I mean, Devontae Smith obviously is the most likely one. I think Kenneth Gaines is going to make an impact right away, even if it's just on special teams. But I don't know. It's too many F's for me. Chuck Thomas, thank you so much for being here. He gave the Eagles a B. Eagles did better later rounds than most teams. I definitely agree with that. I just there's a lot of ifs for me. I do like their back end of their draft as well, though, Chuck. So I do appreciate that you coming in here and chat in the chat room. Let's get to our next team, Ray.
Okay.
That will be the New York Giants, who got a 1st-round pick and Darius Tony, 2nd-round pick Aziz Olori. Third round pick, they got Aaron Robinson. Fourth round pick, they got Elson Smith. Sixth round pick, they got Gary Brightwell, and they also got Rodson Williams, which is Greedy Williams' little older brother, rather. Ray, what do you think about the Giants pick?
I gave them a B plus, A minus. I thought they had a good, solid draft.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge guy on Kadarius Toney, but I think he adds some value to you as a slot guy, a space guy who can do some nice things for you. Ojulari, the edge from Georgia, was probably and Aaron Robinson. So that's two guys right there that are going to come in and help your defense right away. I thought the Giants had a really good, solid draft. I think everybody in your division, in the Eagles division, had a good, solid draft, including the Eagles. So
yeah, I agree.
Again, compared to the last few years where guys are getting drafted, you're like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Now you saw this year where, okay, we'll not to go back to the Eagles, but I saw guys that fit the scheme that they're going to play, and that's where I maybe bumped their grades up a little bit more than other people would.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the Giants a B plus also. And I think the reason why I'm lower on the Eagles than you are, Ray, is because also
you love corners. I know why. I know why.
You're right, Ray. You're right.
I know.
But also, we still don't know the scheme of the Eagles defense yet. Like, even when you talk to the defensive corner, he's so vague in what everybody's like, oh, what kind of defense you're gonna play? He's like so vague in saying what he wants, like, oh, we're just gonna have a multiple defense. We're just gonna do whatever fits the scheme or whatever works for the week, and it don't really give us a clear idea like what the defense is gonna look like. So it's really hard for me to be like, oh, we got some great defensive players because we don't know what kind of defense we were doing right now, right?
Well, two things that I listened to the Eagles defensive coordinator's press conference. I thought that he can represent himself very well. I thought he has a background with the head coach of Minnesota. Yeah. And I can tell you right now, they love the double A gap blitz. Mm-hmm. And if you're an Eagles fan, your number one thought was, why do we never blitz?
That was
never blitz. Well, don't worry, dude. You're going to blitz this year, brother. I can guarantee it. So I think, again, if I were an Eagles fan, I'm not saying it's going to translate into a lot of wins this year, but I'll be excited to where I think they may go. The only thing about the coordinators is they're all young, and they're still going to have to learn a little bit before they get where they need to be.
That's the problem. Our coaching staff is very, very young. I think Jeff Stoutland, the offensive lineman coach, was the oldest guy on the team, which is we'll see how that goes. But Chuck Thomas gave the Giants a B. He said, great job on getting a first-round pick from the Bears for next year. I agree with that. That was probably a really good part of that draft as well. Let's move on to our next team, which would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. First-round pick, they got Trevor Lawrence, first overall. They also got Travis Etienne, his teammate. Later in the first round, second round pick, they got Tyson Campbell and also Walker Little. Third round pick, they got Andre Cisco. Fourth round, they got Jay Tufala. They also got Jordan Smith in the fourth round. Fifth round pick, they got Luke Farrell, tight end. And sixth round pick, they got Jillian Ray. How would you grade that draft?
I gave them a B minus. I mean, I like Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, Travis Etienne, I like. I'm a little hesitant to draft running backs in the first round because of how they are. But again, you got someone who Trevor Lawrence is going to feel very comfortable with right off the bat, which is always a plus. I like Tyson Campbell, the corner from Georgia. I think he's a good football player. I like Walker Little as a prospect. But his injuries absolutely got me concerned. The guy hasn't played football in 2 years.
We was talking about that.
Right, that's a problem. He hasn't played football in 2 years. I mean, so where is he going to be physically? But again, he has good game. If you go back to 3 years ago, he has good film. So we'll see how that goes. I love Andre Cisco. I had him as my number one safety coming off the board. I know everyone else did not feel that way because, again, here's a guy who's been hurt for a year and a half.
Yeah.
But if you want a guy who can come in and play single high safety for you, who can cover and needs to develop as a tackler, of course, but a guy who can play some slot, some corner, some nickel dime corner, and be a safety, I love him. So I think he's a good football player. Jay Tufeli from defensive tackle from USC is, again, a guy who's going to come in and add some depth to you. Jordan Smith, a linebacker, edge guy from UAB, I love. Luke Farrell from Ohio State is an athletic kid who's more of a blocker who maybe can develop into a pass catcher. I think Jacksonville had a good draft. There are some holes. Like, again, Walker Little, I'm not huge on. We'll see how it works out. Luke Farrell, I mean, again, you're talking about a 5th-round pick. I had him more as a 6th or 7th-round pick. But, again, it's up to them to get him on the field. I mean, I'm never going to be a Jacksonville fan because I don't like their coach, but that's just me.
Oh, man, I totally forgot that's you guys, the coach there, right? I gave them a B+. The reason why is that obviously having Trevor Lawrence on any team will automatically give you at least a B on your grade. I don't think you can give them anything less than a B if you have a guy like Trevor Lawrence, which is a generational quarterback. I like their picks. I hate where they got most of them. Travis Etienne, I don't think I would have got him in the 1st round. I think I would have got him in the 1st pick in the 2nd round, like they got Jason Campbell. I keep saying this every time we got on this podcast, Ray, was that I was concerned with his fumbling. He was fumbling a lot last year, and most of his fumbles was almost cost the team some wins and losses, especially when Trevor Lawrence went out. So it was a lot of those games that were close was on him because he would fumble and then a team would get back in the game. I think one game he fumbled twice and kept a team in there. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, they played him at wide receiver. I don't know why you would do that. I think that he needs to stay running back and keep him that arm tucked in.
Well, I think that my only concern is I probably would have drafted an offensive lineman there because they need offensive linemen. But the thing that doesn't surprise me that they're playing, because Travis Etienne's, what makes him special is his ability to line up in the slot.
Yeah. His
ability to get in space and make plays for you. I probably wouldn't have taken him, but I'm not going to disvalue how good of a football player I think he is. And I think he is a good player. So.
Yeah, and again, like you said though, right? We were both not high on getting running backs early in his draft. So I think Etienne, you could have waited a couple. I think they waited about 8 picks to the next draft pick. I think they could have got them in the 2nd round. And then I feel the same way with Tyson Campbell. I think that another guy that you could have waited later on in the 2nd round pick, in the 2nd round, and still got somebody even higher at that point right there. So again, I like the picks. I don't like where they got picked. The only pick that I absolutely love outside of Trevor Lawrence was Andre Sisco. I think that was a home run pick. And the 3rd round, I thought that could have got picked late in the 2nd round. So I like their draft. I gave them a little boost because of Trevor Lawrence, but Chuck says B+. Everybody get drafted was important on improvement on our team. It's just a coach. I don't know if Urban can put the staff together to be successful in the NFL. And he also says, does the Jacksonville change their colors to orange? The Jacksonville Tigers. That is hilarious. Go ahead, Ray.
Well, maybe they should, since they got they're gonna have Tintilo playing H-back too. So
yeah,
that to me knocks the grade down too. So yeah, man, I respect Tintilo as a football player. But I'm not going to get into a guy who 8 years ago was asked to convert to a fullback or H-back and he didn't want to do it. But he'll do it for Urban Meyer. Good for him.
All right, let's get to our next team. That'll be the Denver Broncos. 1st round pick, they got Patrick Surtain in the 1st round. 2nd round, they got Javon Williams. 3rd round, they got Quentin Myers. They also got Baron Browning in the 3rd round. 5th round, they got Caden Stearns, Jamar Johnson. 6th round, they got Seth Williams. 7th round, they got Kerry Benson Jr., Jonathan Cooper, and Marquise Spencer. Ray, where would you grade their draft?
I gave them an A also. I thought Denver had a great draft. I really did. I think they not only did they add a lot of players, which is, to me, I always like adding young guys, man. It don't matter where they come from. But their first 3 picks, their first 4 picks, Surtain, Bill Williams, Miners, Baron Browning, even Caden Stearns from Texas. I had all of them rated higher than where they were drafted, so I thought they had a really good draft. So
I 100% agree with you, Ray. I gave them an A also, so we finally agree on this. I thought they had a great draft. Even their 7th round picks, Ray. Kerry Benson Jr. from LSU, Jonathan Cooper from Ohio State, seen him at the Senior Bowl. Marquise Spencer. I think they had an excellent draft.
One of my favorite drafts. They absolutely did. Kerry Vincent Jr. I had as a 4th round player. Jonathan Cooper I had going in the 5th or 6th round. Marquise Spencer I had going in the 5th or 6th round. I thought if you look at the versatility and the depth of the players they got in their draft, I think the Broncos had a real good draft.
Chuck says A, 3rd best team, best players, and all their draft picks were solid. 100% agree, Chuck. The only slight question I had was Patrick Surtain. I think that was a great pick. Don't get me wrong, but they do have a lot of corners now. Maybe they would have got more, but I like it. Chuck says, Jerome, we're 4-4 on our draft picks. Okay. definitely we'll see how this going there. But I like their draft. I thought that was an excellent draft. Can't complain about them. Again, one of my favorite drafts.
Seth Williams in the 6th round, who I think is going to turn out to be a nice possession guy, who I thought had a 4th round grade on him. Denver had a really good draft. I'm not a Broncos fan. Obviously, they kind of killed Miami. If Miami would have beat them last year, they would have made the playoffs. So that kind of is sticking in my craw a little bit. But I love Javonte Williams. I don't know how they're going to use him right now because now their backfield is a little crowded. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think
it's a player because I wanted Miami to take him. So
they're just screwing you guys over, huh?
They keep trying to send it to me.
Let's get to our next one. The Minnesota Vikings. They got Christian Darrisaw in the 1st round. 3rd round, they had four third round picks, which was Kellen Mond, Chashura Ray, Wyatt Davis, and Patrick Jones. 4th round, they got Kene Wagwu. They got Cameron Braden and Janaris Robinson. And in the 5th round, they got Amir Smith Marset, Zach Davison, and Jillian Twyman. So, Ray, what do you think about that grade?
I gave them a C. I thought they had an okay draft. I like Darrisaw. Kellen Mond, I don't think is an NFL starting quarterback, but you drafted him in the 3rd round, which means to me that you think that maybe he can be a starting quarterback. I disagree with you. Kellen Mond is an enigma, man. He played the same level 4 years in a row in college. Why would you think you can get any more out of him than they got out of him? So, again, we'll see. Chashura, we've had this discussion before. I think he's a good, solid football player. I don't think he's nothing exceptional. Wyatt Davis, I like as a prospect. I think he's probably, to me, him and Darrisaw are their best picks out of day 1 and day 2. Kuwango from Iowa State is a running back who I had a 7th round grade on. They drafted him in the 4th round.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see the value taking him there. Cameron Bynum, I still had a 5th or 6th round pick for him as a prospect. Janarius Robinson from Florida State, I think I like him. He'd probably be their next best pick after that. And Smith Morissette, a wide receiver from Iowa, does nothing for me. They drafted a punter. We all know how I feel about that. And they drafted Twyman, who's, again, a guy who's you keep waiting for him to take that next step and be a consistent player, and he's just not there. He should have come out last year. He had a better year in 2019 than he did in 2020. So, again, this is all going to see how they make these guys work in their system. I think Twyman fits their system. I just don't see where he is. I mean, I just don't see where he's going to help them right away. I thought Minnesota had an okay draft.
Okay.
I didn't think it was anything special. I didn't. So
I was stuck between a C and B minus. I actually like a lot of their third round picks. You got first of all, you got Darisaw. Obviously, that was a great pick. Kellen Mond, it was a solid third round pick, I think, because you can have him behind
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, yes. Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is still a solid quarterback. You can still ride with him, but I don't think that I still think they needed a franchise guy. So I don't hate the pick, but I don't love it either. Chashura Ray, you already know I love Chashura. I thought that he could have been a really good linebacker for the Eagles. Very athletic guy. He's very inexperienced. But I think that he's a really good pick. I love Wyatt Davis as well as a guard for them. I think that was a really good fit. After that, it gets kind of murky, like you said, Ray. Cameron Brayton, I ride him. I like him from Cal. But the next best pick after that I like is Jillian Twyman. I think that getting him in the 6th round was really good. I think because he's shown some upside. He had a bad last year. But I think he's shown some upside. He's a guy that you can bring in, and hopefully you could get more out of him with an NFL coach. So I think that, a guy that we interviewed from inside the hash, I think he's a great guy. Let's see what Chuck says. He says he gave them a B. He says GM keeps dropping back and getting picks. He missed out on better talent. Overall, improved the team. Mine does put pressure on Cousins. And that's why I do like the Mon pick. I don't hate it. I don't really necessarily love it, but I like it. It was solid to me. I think that they need somebody to put pressure on Cousins because Cousins is that solid starter. Could be better. Yeah, he's good, but I don't know. For me, he don't push the needle for me.
If I were them, I would have taken Davis Mills. I think he's a better quarterback. I think he has a better upside. That is the one thing. I saw Davis Mills still there, and if you're going to take a quarterback, I would have taken Davis Mills there. Again, this is all to be determined, as we know. I just didn't think they're. I like Darisaw. I like Surratt. Mm-hmm. I like Patrick Jones a little bit. I like Wyatt Davis, but besides for that, Janoris Robinson. I think he's a versatile player. People are dropping the ball in Florida State players because they were really bad last year. I do agree with that. Jillian Twyman, he's soft. So I just don't see it. So
yeah. Well, let's get to our next pick. Our next team. We're gonna try to speed it up a little bit because we are approaching the hour. So we got the Carolina Panthers had 11 picks. First round pick they got J.C. Horn. Second pick they got Marshall Jr. Their run pick, they got Brady Christensen and also Tommy Tremble. Fourth round pick, they got Chashura Herbert. My screen just went down. Fifth round, they got Davian Nixon. Also Keith Taylor. Sixth round pick, they got Devontae Brown, Shia Smith, Thomas Fletcher, and then the 7th round pick, they got Phil Hopkins. Ray, what do you think about that draft?
I gave them a B. I thought they had a good, solid draft. I did.
Right. I love their draft. I gave him a B+. J.C. Horn was gonna just help him out. Getting Terrence Marshall Jr. At first, I'm like, wow, they got a lot of receivers. But the more I thought about it, I was like, wow, they really pit my guy DJ Moore in the slot. I really love their draft, right? Damian Nixon in the 5th round, Chuba Herbert in the 4th round, a solid backup. You see what happened with Christian McCaffrey, so you never know. He can really be a good backup for them. I love their draft, right? I thought they killed this one.
I think they had a good draft. I gave him a solid B. I like J.C. Horn a lot. Obviously, I like Terrace Marshall for the player where they got him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big Brady Christensen fan. I think he's a solid player.
Yeah.
Of course, I like Tommy Tremble, but he was not consistent at Notre Dame. He's a good blocker.
They didn't use him
some upside, but again,
yeah,
he didn't do it on. And this is going to sound crazy. I like the Chuba Herbert pick. I think he fits their offense. I think as a one-cut guy and get him into the secondary, he'll probably be a pretty good player for them. I like Deontay Brown from Alabama. I like the Keith Taylor pick. I think it's a good, solid pick. I like their draft. I just thought, again, Brady Christensen probably would have went a different way there. Tommy Tremble, and he's a Notre Dame guy, so I like him. But I probably wouldn't have drafted him in the 3rd round. I don't think he's a 3rd-round player.
Yeah, he was a little early.
Again, it's up to them to get him on the field. Davion Dixon, I think, was a really good player. That's probably one of their best picks to me. 3rd or 4th-round player you got in the 5th round. Keith Taylor, I think, was a 4th-round player they got in the 5th round. Deontay Brown from Alabama. I like Shi Smith. I think they had a good pick. They had a good draft.
I agree. And Chuck agrees. He gave them an A- actually, which is really good. And he said he hates the Panthers too. I believe Chuck is a Buccaneers fan, if I'm not mistaken. So that's real high praise for him.
Wait till he gets what kind of grade I gave Tampa Bay.
Okay. Well, we're gonna stay in the division right now and go to Atlanta Falcons. 1st round pick, they got Kyle Pitts. 2nd round pick, they got Richie Grant. 3rd round pick, they got Jillian Mayfield, go blue. 4th round pick, they got Darren Hall. Also, they got Drew Dalman. 5th round pick, they got Jaquan Graham. They also got Ade Tuconbo Ogweje. Okay.
Yes.
They also got Avery Williams in the 5th round, and then in the 6th round pick they got Frank Darby. Ray, where do you think they got?
We gave him a C.
Game of C. Wow.
Gave him a C. I love Kyle Pitts. Obviously, I think Richie Grant was a good pick. I like Jalen Mayfield. I thought he was a day three prospect. I'm not a big Darren Hall fan. I think he's okay. I think he needs a lot of work to develop. Drew Dalman is a guy. He's a little bit of a soft interior offensive lineman. And I don't like guys that play soft in there. I think, again, they're all prospects. Taquan Graham, defensive tackle from Texas, needs a lot of work. Avery Wilson, I thought it was a borderline draftable player. Ogunde from Miami is a solid rotational player. And I'm not big on Frank Darby. I think he's a smaller slot receiver. I didn't think they had a great draft. I thought it was solid. I think it was top heavy. I think they liked their first 3 picks, and then after that it was like so.
Yeah, I agree. The Falcons, I gave them the same grade that Mr. Chuck here, giving them a B-. Kyle Pitts was a generational player. He was a luxury pick for me, though. I think they could have traded down and got more defensive players. Kind of like what he's saying here, no defensive players. Richie Grant, I love Richie Grant. That was one of my favorite guys in this draft. I was hoping the Eagles got him. Jillian Mayfield, I got a little bit of bias for him, but I think he's a really good lineman. Taquan Graham, a guy that the Inside the Hatches interview, I think he's a really solid backup. Avery Williams, another guy that we interviewed. I think that he's going to be really good as a special teamer as far as returning punts and kicks. I think that he's going to be really good at that point. And an underrated guy, another guy that we interviewed with Inside the Hatches is Frank Darby, a guy that we've seen at the Senior Bowl as well. Big, long guy. I think that he's going to have a chance to play, especially if they trade Julio Jones. So we'll see how that goes. But I think is a I won't give him a C, Ray, like you did. I think it's a B plus, but I mean B minus, like Chuck said. So Chuck also said Atlanta will be like Jameis Winston scored 30 but give up 38, 30 for 30 team. Yeah, they've been doing that the last couple of years. They've been doing that for the last couple of years. Let's move on to our next team, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. First round pick, they got Najee Harris. Second round pick, they got Pat Farmer. Third round pick, they got Kendrick Green. Fourth round pick, they got Dan Moore Jr. They also got Buddy Johnson in the fourth round. Fifth round pick, they got Elijah Lattimore. Sixth round pick, they got Quincy Rouche. Seventh round pick, they got Trey Norwood and Presley Harvin the third. I almost said Percy Harvin. Ray, what do you think about this draft?
I gave him a B plus. I thought they had a good solid draft. I think I like, of course, again, we're getting to taking running backs in the first round.
Yeah.
But he's a guy who talk about a guy who fits what Pittsburgh wants to do offensively. Najee Harris is that guy. He's a power runner. He can catch the ball somewhat like on screens and stuff. And the one thing that Ben Roethlisberger does now better than he ever did before is get rid of the ball, get it out of his hands really quickly. He actually was second in the league last year and when times of getting the ball off within like 2.5 seconds. So I think, again, you're talking about a guy who fits their offense. Pat Fryermuth from Penn State is a long, athletic tight end who some people thought he was the second best tight end in the draft. I think I had him third, but he's a good player. Kendrick Green from Illinois, I think, is a good, solid player. Dan Moore from Texas A&M, good, solid player. So they addressed it, bringing some guys who can play in their offensive line. Isaiah Milk, I think, is a good football player. His arms are a little short, but that's why he plays interior defensive line, so he's a good player. I like Quincy Roche. I think he's a guy who can come in and play some off-ball linebacker for you and maybe give you some pass rush. The only reason I didn't give him an A- is because they drafted a freaking punter again. I'm sorry, man. I can't do it. So
Ray really don't like that.
I mean, so I understand. Plus, to me, they took Presley Harvin from Georgia, and I thought Rosenberg from LSU and Drew Chrisman from Ohio State were better. Yeah. So if you're going to take a flyer on a guy because we know after the draft, these guys can sign with anybody they want. I regress a little bit. Like, I don't mind teams taking guys in the seventh round if they think, well, I really want this guy, and if I don't get him in the draft, he may leave. But I just thought that with the depth at punter this year, there's like 3 or 4 guys that are all pretty good. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have drafted Presley Harvin there. That's all. Again, that's just my flavor. So we'll see who was right and who was wrong.
Definitely. Chuck gave him a C-. He said no offensive line help. Good luck with old team. He also said cornerback is lacking too. I'm gonna give them I think I'm gonna go C+ too. I was between C+, B-. I'm gonna give him B-. I'm gonna give him B- because the Najee Harris pick I thought was a really good pick. Again, like we said, you're not comfortable with getting running backs that early, but Najee Harris, Pat Farmer, Kendrick Green, Isaiah Lattimore, all those picks were such Steelers types of draft picks.
Absolutely.
There's guys that the Steelers will always draft those type of guys. And I was like, this is such a Steelers type of draft. Another reason why I want to give them I give them a lower grade than normal because they did not address the quarterback position. I think they should have. I think that Ben Roethlisberger's on his way out of there, so I think they should have got some kind of quarterback at some point.
So you don't like Dwayne Haskins at all in their system?
I forgot they got Dwayne Haskins. I've never been high on Dwayne Haskins, right?
I have either, Jerome. We did this debate. You guys still owe me lunch for Miami not drafted him 4 years ago, but that's all under the wall.
We'll see how Dwayne Haskins does.
But I mean, like, if you look at a guy who kind of fits that system, he kind of fits what they do on offense. Yeah. They don't throw the ball downfield the way they used to.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like I'm not saying they don't need a quarterback, but if I were them, I would feel okay as long as Roethlisberger doesn't get hurt. If he does get hurt, let's face it, man, they're not going to win anything anyway. Their defense is still pretty good. So to add Najee Harris and Freiermuth to that offense, I think we'll put them – I think they're going to be third team in their division, and I don't want them to make the playoffs because I think it's going to borderline if Miami makes the playoffs or not.
Yeah. Chuck says Haskins, and don't give him credit if you don't like Urban Meyer's, right?
My opinion on Dwayne Haskins is no more than as much as I like Justin Fields, I think Justin Fields is a better player than Dwayne Haskins.
Way better.
He is, but their offense does not do them any favor. They play that stupid everybody's running crossing patterns in their offense, and they dumb it down so much to where they don't translate to the NFL. So it's always hard to get a judge for them guys.
I agree. I agree with that, Ray. 100%. I think they were throwing him down the field a little bit more with Haskins. I mean,
without a doubt. And that's why in the beginning of the year, I was not as big as Justin Fields. Like, here's the thing. I shouldn't say that. People in the beginning of the year were trying to say, could he be better than Trevor Lawrence? The answer to that is flat out no. For everybody who's wondering. Flat out no. Do I think Justin Fields got to run with the Maserati a little bit last year where they actually took the reins off him a little bit? They did, which makes me optimistic that he can be the guy. Urban Meyer has no privilege to how I feel about Ohio State. I'm not an Ohio State fan. My dad is a Penn State fan. I know some Michigan guys. I don't like Ohio State. Big Ten. I didn't say that, but I don't disagree.
Disrespectful, Chuck. Disrespectful.
I didn't say it, but I don't disagree.
But disrespectful. All right, let's get to the Washington football team. First round pick, they got our guy Damian Javis, guy that we interviewed for Inside the Hashes. Second round, they got Sam Cosby. Third round, they got Benjamin St. Juice. Third round, they got Damian Brown. Fourth round, they got John Bates. Fifth round, they got Derek Flores. Fourth round, Cameron Cheeseman from Michigan. Seventh round, they got Will Bradley King, Shaka Tony, and Dax Millen. There you go. Yeah. Ray, what would you give them?
Game of C+. They are the one team in your division that I thought did okay. I love their first two picks. But after that, I like De'Ami Brown and I like Shaka Tony. The other guys I'm a little leery of. So I gave them a C+. I gave them a bad draft. I just don't think they had a great draft. That's all.
I agree. I gave them a B-. Like you said, Ray, there's a couple of guys in this draft that I really like as far as, especially with depth. Jimmy Davis, people was like, why did they get Jimmy Davis? I think that was a perfect pick. Very athletic linebacker. He won't have to be asked to do much because that defensive line is going to gobble up most of those holes, and he can just fly in there and just destroy somebody. So, and he can cover tight end. So I like him back there. Sam Cosby, I thought he could have been a late first round, early second round pick. They got him at the 51 spot there. Benjamin St. Juice, I think that he got picked a little early. I think he's a solid corner, but I think he got picked a little early. There was other corners on the board that they could have got. Damian Brown, I think he's a good addition to their offense. I think he will do well. John Bates, I loved him at the Senior Bowl. He was one of my favorite tight ends at the Senior Bowl, which he got featured a little bit more during the game. But I thought he did really well in the practices, so I like him. I hate the fact they got a long snapper, even though he's a Michigan guy. They got a long snapper. Why are you drafting a long snapper? Like, what are you guys doing?
That took their grade from a B- to a C+ for me, to be honest with you.
And I like their depth that they got in the seventh round pick. I like all three of those guys. I think they're going to be solid guys that you can use in different roles in their defense.
I don't think I'm as big on Jim Davis as you are, but I do think that Ron Rivera is a guy who really develops linebackers, and he's in a perfect system because, like you said, he's just got to fly to the ball because their defensive line is ridiculous. So
exactly. Chuck says B. Give them a B. NFC East had the most consistent draft. All B's only up as no team had winning records in the division. Yeah. He also said Washington did better in free agency too. Yes, they did as well. So they got some definitely some weapons on that team. Next pick we're gonna do Cincinnati Bengals. Their first round pick is Jamar Chase. Second round pick was Jackson Carman. Third round pick was Joseph Osai. Fourth round pick was Cameron Staple. They also got Tyler Shelvin, DeAndre Smith. Fifth round pick, they got Evan McPherson. Sixth round pick, they got Trey Hills, Chris Evans, and seventh round pick, they got Wyatt Herbert. Ray, what do you think about the draft?
I gave him a C plus, maybe a B minus. Of course, we all love Jamar Chase. Jackson Carman was a mistake. He's a guard. You think he's going to play tackle? He's not going to play tackle.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you'd have done the right thing and take Penei Sewell, a wide receiver would have fell to you, and you could have. And again, this is not a knock on Jamar Chase. This is why I'm not knocking their grade down because Jamar Chase is not a player. He is. Any team who didn't take Penei Sewell, who needed an offensive lineman in the top 5, made a mistake, and that's all there is to it. Okay, including maybe Miami. So I'm not leaving them out of the equation because they had the 6th pick. But anybody who needed offensive line depth and didn't jump on Penei Sewell made a mistake. Okay, that's all there is to it.
I agree.
But I think besides for that, I like. So I'm just going with. I like Chase. I like Joseph Osai. I like Cam Sample. I like Tyler Shelvin as a scheme fit, 0-1 tech guy. He's a good football player. You took a quick kicker. Nothing else needs to be said. In the second round, again, nothing else needs to be said. Trey Hill, I'm not big on. I think he's a little bit soft as an interior and offensive lineman. Chris Evans, who I think has some versatility. I didn't see enough from Michigan or from him to say I would have taken him anywhere, maybe the 7th round. Wyatt Herbert from Kansas State, I like as a developmental guy, but I'm not going to knock him. I think he's a solid player. I mean, I could see them getting a B minus. I hate the Jackson Carman pick. To me, that was a reaction to we didn't take Penei Sewell. We need to take an offensive lineman, and you took a guy who is a guard who's not going to be able to play tackle for you. And I honestly thought Jackson Carman was like a day 3 pick, but that again, that's my opinion. So
definitely. Chuck gave them a B. He said because they had the balls to take Chase over Penei Sewell. That's actually
balls to take a wide receiver when your quarterback didn't play half the season last year because of injury. That stupidity is what that is.
Ray, I agree with you. Actually, I'm gonna give them a C plus.
Yeah.
If you guys been watching the podcast, my personal favorite player in this entire draft was Jamar Chase. I think I always said that they should protect their franchise quarterback. They should have got Penei Sewell. I think that they should have and could have got them. Jackson Carman was not a great pick, I don't think. And like you say, Ray, they try and pin him at tackle. He's not a tackle. I think he's a guard. I personally love Joseph Osai. I think he's a great motor guy. I think that he's one of those guys that are going to put in maximum effort. I love his motor. He's going to keep going. After that, it dies down for me. I mean, Taylor Sheldon is pretty good. Getting a kicker in the 5th round, that was horrible, Ray. And I hated the Chris Evans pick, even though he's a Michigan guy. I thought Jared Patterson would have been a way better running back for them at that point than Chris Evans. I don't know why.
Honestly, if they would have been able to say they take Jamar Chase and then move up in the top 10 in the 2nd round and taking a Tavon Jenkins, then I'd be like, you know what, that's a home run.
Yeah,
because they retch and took Carman. I can't go with that. I don't see that. I think that you took a guy who you think is going to try to shove him at tackle because that's where you're going to need him to play, and you're probably going to hurt his development. So again, you swung and missed twice as far as I'm concerned. And again, it's not going Jamar Chase. Yeah, I had Jamar Chase as my number 1 wide receiver too. It's not a knock on him. He's a good player. The quarterback can't get the ball to him. He's laying on his back, though.
Exactly. And Chuck just made a great point. Andrew Luck retired early. Coach made a mistake, and Bengals were following. He also said Bengals better fire that coach and hired Joe Brady next season. Well, we'll see. He's another young coach.
The coach does not
that
pick players.
He didn't have good players. I agree with that. He didn't have great players last year. He got a rookie quarterback that's coming in and look promising. So I wouldn't cut him right away because again, you had
if you watch the Bengals play last year, they played hard every game.
They did.
The coach deserves credit for that. He's not in a position to decide who we're taking.
I agree.
So I just think that honestly, I would have taken Penei Sewell. I would have protected my quarterback, and then I would have grabbed the receiver later in the draft. Again, if I'm not going to do that, then I need to maneuver again and get a guy who I can project as a left tackle. And after this middle of the second round, it got really thin after that. So
I agree. All right, let's get to our next pick. We got the Baltimore Ravens. They got Rashad Bateman. In the first round, they also got Owen from Penn State.
Owen from Penn State.
Yeah. Third round pick, they got Benjamin Cleveland, Brandon Steffen from SMU. Fourth round, they got Tyler Wallace. Fifth round, they got Sean Wade, Devlin Hayes, and Ben Mason from Michigan. Ray, what do you think?
I gave him a B+. I honestly could have given him an A- because I like their draft. I think Baltimore is one of them teams that every year when the dust settles, they seem to have done a good job. I'm a big Rashad Bateman fan. I think the kid, if you get him to run better routes and clean up his route running issues, he has great hands. He's got plus speed. He's a good football player. Jason Owe is the guy that I'm a little bit leery of because even though he's athletic and checks all the boxes in athleticism, he didn't have any sacks last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that the production wasn't there for me. But again, I understand why they did it. And he's another guy. He fits what they would like to do on defense. They like guys that can line up and play their hand in the dirt or can actually stand up and get to the quarterback. They like guys like that. And I think he fits their system. A lot of this is Ben Cleveland. Excuse me. He is a perfect Baltimore Raven player. And that's why I think it's a good pick for them. I mean, even your guy, I don't want to skip the Brandon Stevens, cornerback from SMU. I like Tyler Wallace as a slot guy. I had him as a third-round player going in the fourth round. Sean Wade, we've talked about his struggle at outside, but if you play him at safety or a nickel and dime package, he's going to come in and play for you right away probably. Dalen Hayes from Notre Dame is another guy who can play some put his hand in the dirt and play some strong side defensive end, can play some one gap and three gap for you. I think he's a good football player. And Ben Mason just fits Baltimore. He's just that guy. So I thought Baltimore had a good draft.
I agree with you, Ray. I forgot what grade you gave him, but I'm gonna give him a B+, Ray. I really like.
I gave him a B+. I could have went A-. Really,
I thought A- too, and that's actually what I gave him.
Yeah, I could have talked myself into giving him an A-. I really could have.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Ray. Jason Owe in the first round. I think they could have waited till the second round pick to get him. But they wanted to get their guy. Rashad Bateman is easily the biggest need they needed. He's a great fit for them. Help out Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, now you got somebody you can line up outside, and the one other receiver is a slot guy. Now you got somebody who can play off of him a little bit. I just think my only reason why I agree with you, I think Owe was more of a second-round talent. But Baltimore didn't have a second-round pick, so I think they just jumped on him there.
That's why I thought they could have maybe traded back and still got extra picks and things like that. But still had a really good draft. Brandon Stevens, I really love that pick. I think he's an underrated corner. Twan Wallace, another guy that I thought if the Eagles didn't get a wide receiver in the first round, he could have been a guy that the Eagles could have got. I really do like him a lot. Sean Wade was drafted at the perfect spot. Fifth round, see what he can do. He had a good year 2 years ago. really struggled last year. So we'll see if the Baltimore Ravens can work him back into that system. And he don't have to be the number one guy.
Right.
So.
I think in the Baltimore system, he fits perfectly. Play him in the slot. Let him do some safety play him some safety for you. I think Baltimore again. This is why Baltimore is a good team. Yeah. They draft very well, man. They just
and give me Ben Mason, man. Like again, I know he's a fullback. You get him in the 5th round, but he's so versatile. Like I keep saying this: when you see Ben Mason, think Kyle Juszczyk, a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run the ball. He can block his butt off. I was about to say another word, but he can block his butt off. He was very underused at Michigan as well. He went to the Senior Bowl and had a great practice. I wish they used him more in the actual game so they could see how he plays, and on TV. So you really get a chance to see how he played on TV. But I thought he was one of the best guys in practice that week.
I think Michigan and Florida State kind of fell under the same like that. Their team struggled, so their players didn't get the light shine on them that you should have. But I like Ben Mason. I think I have my little notes here. Perfect scheme fit. Baltimore is perfectly made for him.
Definitely. Chuck said, "Will the Eagles?"
No, they will not. They will not. That's not going to happen. The Eagles don't do that.
If you know our Jim, he's not going to do it. Trust me.
Chip Kelly stripped the team dry of talent. They didn't do it for 2.5 years. So why would they do that for one?
I agree. All right, let's get to Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't have a 1st-round pick, but they had a 2nd-round pick. They got Nick Bolton, linebacker from Missouri. Also had Creed Humphrey, 4th-round pick. They got Joshua Kando, 5th-round pick. They got Noah Gray. They also had Cornell Powell as a wide receiver, and 6th-round pick. They got Trey Smith. Ray, what would you give them?
I gave him a B. I gave him a solid B. I think they had a good solid draft. I mean, they only had a few picks, but I think to get Nick Bolton in the 2nd round, I thought he could have been taken easily the end of the 1st round. Mm-hmm. To get Creed Humphrey at number 63, I think is a great pick. Joshua Caden, I think he'll come in and they'll try to get him on the field. I think Noah Gray is an athletic tight end who can do some things, even though neither one of their tight ends blocking you. So that's probably going to be a little bit of a problem. Cornell Powell, wide receiver from Clemson, I think is a versatile special teams guy. And to get Trey Smith is where this went from a C minus to a C plus to a B minus. They got Trey Smith, and I know he has some health issues, but this kid was a 2nd-round talent. They got him in the 6th round.
I agree.
So how can that not be a win?
I agree. 100% agree, Gray. I give him a B grade as well. Nick Bolton was the pick that I love for them. Pairing him up with the guy they got last year was Willie Gay. They got some fast linebackers now. I really do like what they did. Creed Humphrey was a guy that can be in our 1st round. Also, Noah Gray, I think, is a good backup. Again, like you said, maybe not the best at blocking, but I think he's a good solid number 2 tight end that could have to come in every once in a while, catch the ball.
I think you look at Kansas City, they upgraded their offensive line, and they're just looking to add a couple of skill player here and a skill player there. Because let's face it, man, the skill players are good, so they're fine. So
and in a way, I think that you have to kind of factor in the fact that they traded a 1st-round pick to get Orlando Brown. I think that was a really good trade for them as well. Yep. Chuck says B minus, no running game. They hit A after free agency. And he also says Nick Bolton should be an Eagle pick in the 2nd round pick. I agree. I still think Kansas City has enough depth at running back. Yeah. They have a couple guys, and they have a guy that we both like. They don't use enough, so we'll see how it goes. I agree with that. Yeah, most people don't know about
Darwin Thompson.
Yeah, he did well, and in his spare time that he played when the running backs 2 years ago got injured. So I think they got solid running backs there. Trust me, don't worry about their running backs.
Plus, they're going to throw the ball 60% of the time.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
they're going to throw the ball.
Reed, man, come on.
Oh yeah.
Guy goes
into Reed.
Guy goes into the locker room, and first thing he said, "What's the first pass play I'm going to throw?" That's what he does, man. So
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get to the Tennessee Titans. First round pick, they got Caleb Farley. Second round pick, they got Dylan Rudas. Radus, sorry. Third round pick, they got Monte Rice. They also got Elijah Moulton in the third round. Fourth round, they got Des Fitzpatrick and Rashad Weaver. Sixth round pick, they got Racy McMath and Brady Breeze. Ray, what do you think about this draft?
I gave him a B. I don't think they did anything exceptional. I think they just let guys fall to them, and they got I like Farley. I think that his injuries are a little bit concerning. I like Radunz. I think he's a good, solid tackle. I like Monte Rice from Georgia. I think he's a good football player. I think Elijah Molden from Washington is a good football player. I think Des Fitzpatrick, wide receiver from Louisville, has a little depth. Maybe he can do some things in the slot for you right away. Rashad Weaver from Pittsburgh, I think he's a nice rotational type player. Racy McGrath, wide receiver from LSU, again, a guy who'll come in and probably play on special teams for you. And Brady Breeze, safety from Oregon. I thought they had a good, solid B type of a draft.
I agree, Ray. I'm gonna give them a B too. I think we're on the same wavelength in the last couple of picks. But Caleb Farley, my favorite corner on the draft. Obviously, he had some injury issues, so he had. I think that's an if right there. Dylan Radus, I keep saying his name. Radus. I thought he could have been a first round pick. I really do like him. I seen him at the Senior Bowl. He was did really well against some of the best talent out there. Monte Rice was a really solid linebacker they got. Elijah Morton, I liked him a lot too. Des Fitzpatrick, one of my favorite. Besides Ben Mason, he was probably another one of my favorites that was down at the Senior Bowl. He really showed out. After seeing how he played at the Senior Bowl, I was just like blown away from me. So I really do like him in the fourth round. Rashad Weaver is another guy from the Senior Bowl. I thought he did well as well. I think I give him a solid B, right? They are stacked at cornerback, especially if Caleb Farley can stay healthy. I also like the guy they got last year, which was Felton from LSU.
Yeah.
So they lost one guy in I forgot his name. He went to the Giants. They lost him and they replenished at the safety. I think
if Farley comes out and the injuries are not a problem, he's a top 20 pick. So I think honestly to get in at 22 was solid. Some people thought he was the best corner in the draft before his injury. So
exactly, that's how I felt.
If he turns out to be what he should be, this is an A draft.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Chuck says a B-. I like Rice's pick as well. A solid B from me too. Okay, great. Let's get to the Cowboys. The Cowboys had Michael Parsons in the first round. Second round, they had Kevin Joseph. Third round, they got Osa Odigwaza, I think how you say it. Chancey Golden and Nashawn Wright. Fourth round. Say
Odigizua.
There we go. Fourth round pick, they got Jabril Crocs, Josh Ball. Fifth round, they got Semi Fake Huko. Sixth round, they got Quentin Bahama, and also Israel Mukuamu. And in the seventh round, they got Matt Farniak. They got hard names on their team. Just say that.
No, that was the goal this year. Let's draft guys we can't pronounce their name. We just put numbers on them and be done with it.
Exactly. Ray, what do you think about the draft?
I gave him a B-. I like the Michael Parsons pick. I like the Kelvin Joseph pick. I like the Odigizua pick. Everybody after that is a little bit of a question mark. I like Jabril Cox a little more than other people, but I think in the beginning he'll be a special teams guy. I'm not sure if he's going to start for them right away. Mm-hmm. What I like with the Dallas said is they did go defense, and they needed to improve their defense. So that for that alone, I give them a B. Again, I have some questions after. I know Michael Parsons has some people have some concerns about his maturity, but if you look at this kid's talent, man, he's a ridiculously talented player. Again, I like Kelvin Joseph. I like Odigizua. Chauncey Golden, I'm not big on from Iowa. I think he's okay. Nashon Wright. Again, they're names, but they're defensive guys that probably will come in and, well, I'm not going to say hopefully improve their defense because I know you don't hope that. But I think they can, so.
Yeah. All right, so, Ray, this is how I feel about this team. I'm going to give them a B-. And I'm going to tell you why. I think they had solid picks. I think after the 4th round, it was like, nah, I ain't really like their picks. Jabril Cox and Michael Parsons, I love those two guys. I just think like Jabril Cox, I'm really high on him. Like you say, Ray, you like them. I really like him. I think he was a late second, early third for me personally. He slipped a little bit. I think, but having him and Michael Parsons and their other two linebackers, somebody's not going to play that much, and it's going to be Jabril Cox, which sucks.
Yeah, Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith.
Yeah, they can't have all 4 of them on the field. If there was,
you could. You play for me. You could.
Yeah, but the thing for me is that they could have did that when it was a 3-4. You're not 3-4 anymore. They're 4-3. So I feel like they did it backwards. Like they could have kept it at 3-4 and they could have had all 4 of those guys on the field at that point, because then you could have had Jabril Cox and Parsons on the outside, and then the other 2 on the inside. But now that they're doing it 3-4, 4-3, it's just like now you got way too many linebackers there. I don't know. I think they should have worked on their defensive line a little bit more. Which they did get some defensive linemen in here, but I just think they could have got somebody better. I don't know. That just meant my opinion. I like the draft overall, but it's just like that kind of bothered me.
I think that they need to start addressing their offensive line.
Yeah.
They're getting a little bit older now. They're not the studs they were 5 years ago. And
I agree.
The guys they drafted, I'm not high on.
Yeah.
But, I think Farniok could be a backup somewhere, but I don't think he's ever going to be a starter. But, you are talking about a 7th-round pick. So, yeah. I think they address defensive players with defensive needs. We'll see how they put them together.
Yeah. He says linebacker core will be key if they want to win the division. They got to stay healthy. Let's hope they finish 8-9, but that could win the division. Let's say 6-11. Yeah, again, and I know we're not talking about the Cowboys record, but I do think that their defense is going to be very, very young, and it's not going to be that much of a huge improvement from last year, just because of the experience. They have a lot of young guys. All right, let's get to the Buffalo Bills. Trying to speed up just a little bit more. Buffalo Bills got Greg Rousseau in the 1st round. 2nd round, they got Boogie Basham. 3rd round, they got Spencer Brown, one inside the Hatches guys. 5th round, they got Tommy Doyle. 6th round, they got Marquez Stevenson, DeMar Hamel, and Rashard Wildgoose. And in the 7th round, they got Jack Anderson. Ray, what'd you give them?
I gave them an A. I really think Buffalo had a good draft. Again, this is going to be very dependent on how you feel about Gregor Rousseau. And as you know, I am a fan.
Yeah.
I think that Rousseau and Basham work perfectly together. Basham is a guy who eats up blocks, who can come in and play the strong side defensive end, and you let Gregor Rousseau rush from the weak side defensive end spot. I think they just work together. We talked about Spencer Brown as a 3rd pick. We thought he was going to be an early 2nd-round pick, if not maybe late 1st. Some people thought.
Mm-hmm.
His 3-cone drill was as good as some of the running backs in this draft. He's an athletic specimen. I understand he played at a small school. I do, but if you look at his pro day and everything, it tells you the kid's going to be a player. Tommy Doyle from Miami, Ohio is an offensive tackle who I like. I like everything about what they did. I like Marquez Stevenson. I like DeMar Hamlin. Not that I think he's a plus athlete. I think he fits what Buffalo likes their safeties to do. They like the safeties to play downhill. I think he's a good football player. I think Rashad Wildgoose is a little bit, but I had him as a 4th-round pick, and they got him in the 6th round, so I can't do nothing but give him a good grade for that.
Yeah.
And Jack Anderson, I thought could come in and maybe be a backup somewhere. I had him as a 6th-round pick. Got him in the 7th round. I mean, I don't like the Buffalo Bills, but how could I do anything but give him a good, solid grade? So.
Yeah, I give him a B+, Ray. The first 2 picks was outstanding. Having Russo and Boogie Basham, that is going to really help their defense. But the Spencer Brown one, Ray, you said it perfectly. The guy is 6'8", I believe.
Yeah.
And can move that well. Dude, I think that was a great pick. Like you said, small school guy, but don't worry about that. Tommy Doyle, another small school guy, going from Miami, Ohio. I think he'll do really well. A solid guy. Marcus Stevenson, just going to a team with another good young backups, and I think that's going to be great. Chuck Davis said, "Gotta roll." The Sixers are 61-60 at halftime lead. Great stuff. So Chuck Davis, thanks guys for being in here. We do appreciate you. Good luck with the Sixers. I'm here in Georgia right now, but I do root for Sixers. I hope they do well. So let's move along to their picks. The New England Patriots, right? A team that you love.
I just love
You love them. First round pick, Mac Jones. Second round pick, they got Christian Barmore. Third round pick, they got
Patriots.
Perkins. Fourth round pick, they got Ramondre Stevenson. Fifth round pick, they got Cameron McGrone from Michigan. Sixth round pick, they got Joshua Bledsoe, Will Sherman, and then in the 7th round pick, they got Trey Nixon. Ray, what do you think about the draft?
I gave him a B+, A- even maybe. I thought New England had a good draft. Of course, a lot of this is going to depend on what Mac Jones does, but again, I think me and you have talked about this. I think Mac Jones landed in the perfect situation. He can sit and just play behind Cam for 1 year and then see what happens with him. I think he has some talent. I mean, not like my only concern is everybody thinks that every slow white quarterback now is Tom Brady. Okay?
Yeah,
let's pump the jets, man. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Like Tom Brady is an anomaly. He's Tom Brady. Okay, let's let that be said and done. Tom Brady's don't come along every day. If they did, everybody would have one.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's not get carried away. But I like Barmore. That is the one thing I thought the Eagles should take Christian Barmore with their 2nd pick instead of the offensive tackle. Now, if they'd have done that, the Eagles hand down would have gotten an A+ from me.
Oh yeah.
But because they didn't, I moved them down to an A-. I thought the Eagles had a good draft. But I like Christian Barmore. I like Ronnie Perkins, especially as a guy who can play some off-ball linebacker, come in there and rush the quarterback. Ramondre Stevenson is one of my I like him, and I like him in New England's system because he is a tough physical runner, and that is how New England likes their running backs. Joshua Bledsoe, I had as a 4th-round pick. And he got him in the 6th round. Again, how can I do anything but give him a good grade? Will Sherman, offensive tackle to add some depth. Trey Nixon, wide receiver from UCF, who has some return ability. I thought New England had a good draft. I did.
I agree. I gave him the same exact grade, right? The Mac Jones one, like we said before, perfect. He went to this perfect spot at their perfect pick. I think that New England didn't have to trade up for him. They just stayed patient and got their guy. Christian Barmore could have been a 1st-round pick. They got him in the 2nd-round pick. I thought that was really good. Ronnie Perkins is such a sleeper pick, right? He's a really good edge rusher. I think New England's going to get the most out of him, and they're going to do really well with him. Stevenson, I think that was a good pick. I get very fearful with the Patriots with their running backs though because they rotate them so much and you never know who's going to be the guy 1 week or whatever. I think that he's going to be a good role guy, but you're
already hearing that Sony Michel could be on the trading block. See? And if it means that already, man, they must like this kid a lot. So,
wow, yeah.
I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
You're good. I absolutely hate the fact that they keep getting Michigan guys, though. That drives me absolutely crazy. They always getting Michigan guys. Stop drafting my Michigan guys New England because I don't like New England, but when they bring them in, I think they do well. Trey Nixon, I think will be a really good special team guy for them. I think that he's actually going to make the roster. I like him. I like him in USA, and he's one of those guys, speedier guys. I think he's going to do well. So let's get to our next pick. Green Bay Packers. In the first round pick, they got Eric Stokes. Second round pick, they got Josh Myers. Third round pick, they got Amari Rogers. Fourth round pick, they got Royce Newman. Fifth round pick, they got Trey Slayton. They also got Shamir Jean Charles, Inside the Hatches interviewee. Sixth round pick, they got Cole Van Lynen. They also got Isaiah McDuffie. And in the seventh round pick, they got Kalen Hills. Ray, what do you think about the Packers?
Green Bay. Hold on one second here, Jerome.
Well, let me give my grade.
Yeah, give me your.
Eric Stokes, I like the pick. I think that he went a little early. Not too much though. So I liked him at the cornerback position. Josh Myers is a really good pick. They needed to get that offensive line in order with losing their offensive line they had. Lineman, I forget his name. Lindsey. Amari Rogers is that type of receiver that the Green Bay needed. I think that he's going to be that Kevin Cobb. Not Kevin Cobbs. Oh my goodness. Randall Cobb. There you go. Randall Cobb. I think he's going to be that type of player. He's a great pick. I think he's going to work very well with Devontae Adams. Lawrence Newman, I think that was a solid pick. Shamir Jean Charles I really like him. Come from Appalachian State. I thought that him and Sean Jolly, who's going to come out next year, were really good cornerbacks that a lot of people don't know about with going to Appalachian State. I think he's going to be a solid guy that might be a starter at some point. And Kalen Hills, I think that was a really good pick for them. Crowded backfield right now, though, so we'll see how that goes. But I really like him. Ray, what do you think about the draft?
I gave him C+. I think they had a decent draft. I mean, I like Eric Stokes. I didn't think he was a first-round player. Mm-hmm. I think Josh Myers is a solid player. Again, I didn't think he was a second-round player. Amari Rogers was probably their favorite pick.
Yeah,
for me on the first 2 days. And I like Kylan Hill too. And I like Isaiah McDuffie, especially as a special teams type guy.
Yeah.
Cole Van Lantern, I had as a they got him in the 6th round. I had him like 6th or 7th round. I think he's an okay player. I gave him a C+. I mean, I didn't see anything. The fact that they didn't get a receiver before Amari Rogers kind of disappointed me. Mm-hmm. I really think that we all know that there's a debate on if the quarterback's going to play there next year, Aaron Rodgers is going to play there or not next year, and taking a cornerback, I don't know. I probably would have taken a wide receiver there, or found somebody that to play on the offensive line there besides Josh Myers. Because I mean, if you get another guard and Josh Myers, then you're improving the offensive line a lot. And then you get Amari Rogers, then you're like, okay, well, we do care about you, Aaron. We are trying to keep you on the team. To draft a cornerback there, I just don't get that. But again, I gave him a solid C+.
Yeah.
If Myers winds up starting and Amari Rogers does what I think he can do, I could see it moving up to a B- maybe. Mm-hmm. I thought they had a good, solid draft. They didn't blow me away with anything they did, though.
Yeah, that was my pick. My grade for them would be a minus as well. I didn't mention that.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get to the Seattle Seahawks. They only had 3 picks. So this won't be long. Dwayne Eskridge was their first pick in the 2nd round. 4th round pick, they got Trey Brown. And in the 6th round, they got Stone Forsythe. Ray, what do you think about the draft?
There was 2 teams that I gave a D to. They were one of them. I didn't like. I liked Dwayne Eskridge. I thought he was maybe a day 3 prospect. I definitely would have never taken him in the second round. Trey Brown, cornerback from Oklahoma, again, I thought was a 6th round player. They took him in the 4th round. They kind of wrecked there. Stone Forsythe, I don't think is an NFL caliber, not a starting offensive tackle, but again, you took him in the 6th round. I didn't like their draft at all. I mean, it didn't help them. They only had 3 players to take too.
Yeah.
But I think that they should have just taken the best player on the board, and then instead of taking another wide receiver. But again, that is what I would have done. So yeah.
Yeah, I gave him a C-, Ray. I don't think I gave any team a D. I don't think.
I got 2 teams I gave D's to.
You gave 2?
2 teams I gave D's to.
All right, we'll see the second one then. But I gave him a C-. Dwayne Eskridge, there's nothing wrong with him. I like him. I think he's a good player. Like you said, Ray, a little too early, and I think that they should have got an offensive lineman. Like, I don't know what it is about the offensive lineman did not like helping out, Russell Wilson. And this was the draft to do it. This was the draft to get the offensive lineman, and it just didn't. I don't know why. And then Trey Brown, I'm not high on. Like you said, with Stone Forsythe. Yeah, they only had 3 picks. I didn't like them that much to give them a good grade. So we'll see. Let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Unfortunately, we don't have Chuck in here, so hopefully he can see this later on our YouTube channel and maybe comment on her. But we're going to get to the Bucs. They had 7 picks. First round pick, they had Drew Tryon. Second round pick, they had Kyle Trask. Third round pick, they had Ryan Hainsey. Fourth round pick, they had Jalen Darden. Fifth round pick, they had KJ Britt. Seventh round pick, they had Chris Wilcox, and they also had Grant Stewart. So, Ray, what do you think about their draft?
I gave him a C-. I didn't like their draft either.
I know you had. I remember you telling me about their draft.
I didn't really like their draft. I think Joe Tryon is a long, non-athletic guy who is all fluff. No, there's no meat to his game, man. He's just not that good. Yeah. Kyle Trask, I don't think was a second-round quarterback. I don't think he's a starting quarterback. I think he's a backup. I like Robert Hainsey. He's a Notre Dame guy, but I didn't have him going before day 3. So again, I like the guy. I don't like where he was taken. Jalen Darden, again, I like Jalen Darden. I wouldn't have taken him before round 5 or 6. So again, I can't do that. KJ Britt is a slow linebacker. You know how I feel about slow linebackers, okay? I thought they had a bad draft. I mean, I think I like Chris Wilcox as a guy who could develop into something. He's a corner. He's got average size. He's like 5'10", but he ran under a 4.40, so he can run, and he has some some upside to your defensive backfield. And again, the Grant Stewart, sub 4.7 linebacker, he can't play in today's NFL and not be a difference maker. So I thought they had a bad draft.
Yeah, I gave him a C-, Ray. Joe Tryon was way too high for me. I like the guy. He's very athletic. I think that he, very he's a finesse guy. He's more of a project for me, I think. Kyle Trask, I didn't have a problem with Kyle Trask at that pick. I know you didn't like it. He was at the end of the second round. I like the fact that he can develop behind Tom Brady, so I don't hate that pick, Ray. Robert Hainsey, honestly, I don't know too much about him. I think he got drafted too high. Jalen Darden, I really like Jalen Darden. Again, like you said, though, Ray, drafted way too high for a 4th round pick. I think you could have got some more picks for that. KJ Britt, a guy that we interviewed, I like him. He is a slower linebacker, but they got him in the 5th round. You can't go wrong with that in the 5th round. I don't hate that pick, Ray. Chris Wilkins, I'll admit I don't know much about him, to be honest. And Grant Stewart, a guy that we've seen at the Senior Bowl, I think he was Mr. Irrelevant this year. High motor guy. I think that he's going to be really good on special teams. He's going to be one of your special team aces, I think. But other than that, he's not going to be in the starting role at all. I think that his ability kind of limits him in that aspect. But I really do like him as a special team guy. He's a seventh round pick anyway, so it's really weird you're looking for him in seventh round anyway. So I really I like their. I can't say I love their draft. I don't hate it as much as you do, but also like nobody sticks out to me as a starter. I think Joe Biden is the only one that might start, but even then, like I think he's gonna be a rotational guy. They don't have any starters on the team.
When I look at your draft and your best pick is an interior offensive lineman who you probably reach for, and then a corner that is a developmental guy, and they're the only two guys that really stand out to me. That's not a good draft. I almost gave them a D.
I thought you was, right?
What's that?
I thought you was.
The only reason I did is because, again, I think Joe Tryon will get on the field and he'll play. He needs to develop. He's a little soft. He is. But, again, he has the size. He has the length. So maybe he can develop into somebody. Kyle Trask will be a backup quarterback and will be a good, solid. He's in a perfect spot. He gets to sit behind Tom Brady and sit there and watch him do his thing. Could that make him into a starting caliber quarterback? I guess it's possible. I don't see it. I think he is the ultimate system player because if people seem to forget, like, yeah, he put up good numbers in Florida. He played with 3 draftable skill players, including the best tight end in the draft and a receiver that was taken in the top 25. So he played with some talent. It wasn't like he was out there playing, like he wasn't doing things that were exceptional. He was just distributing the ball. Nothing wrong with that. He's a good, solid player. Robert Hazy, I like. He's a guy who played tackle for Notre Dame. He's projected to play guard. He actually played some center in senior week and did a good job there. So he's a versatile player. I know people, he's a Notre Dame guy. Yes, but again, I wouldn't have taken him in day 3. I wouldn't have taken him before the 5th round. The fact that they reached up and took him, I had a 6th round grade on him. And they took him in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they retch on him, but I like him as a developmental guy. I do. And I like Chris Wilcox. I think he's a 5'10" kid who has a fairly thick upper body. Who ran a 4.38. I mean, again, I can work with somebody who has traits. These other guys are just guys. I think they had a bad draft. I do.
I agree. Let's get to our next team. We're at the end of this, guy, so just bear with us. We're almost done. We got the Houston Texans. They only had 5 picks this draft, but they got Davis Mills, quarterback from Stanford, in the 3rd round. They also got Nico Collins. 5th round, they got Bravion Jordan. They also had Garrett Wallow, and in the 6th round, they had Roy Lopez. Ray, what do you think about this draft?
I gave them a B+. I mean, the only thing I think really that hurt them is they didn't have a lot of picks, but I'm a Davis Mills fan. I don't think that he should play. I think that he should sit on the bench. That's my only concern. Who's a starting quarterback? And we don't know what's going to happen with their quarterback. And it looks like even if he's acquitted of everything that's going on against him, he's not ever going to play for Houston again.
Yeah.
So that looks like that's in the tea leaves now. But I like Davis Mills. I like Nico Collins. We talked about, I'm a Nico Collins guy. I like Brevin Jordan as an athletic tight end that can stretch the seams and do some things in the middle of the field. I like Garrett Wallow. I like Roy Lopez. I like their players, so I gave him a B.
Yeah, I gave him a solid B as well, Ray. I think we talked about this in our live podcast that considering the picks that they got really good guys. Damon Mills is a really solid quarterback that had very little experience, but he has all the tools that you need. If he could stay behind, what's his name?
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor, yeah. He can stay behind him and learn a little bit. That'd be a good thing for him. Nico Collins, Michigan guy. I know he's yes, he's a Michigan guy, but I love him. He ran better than I thought he would, which is great. He got great hands. He got the size. He's gonna go up and get the ball. Another guy that was underutilized in the Michigan offense. I hate to keep saying that, but it was the truth. And I think that he is going to be one of those guys, just like Donovan Peoples-Jones for the Browns. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to play for them. And he's probably going to be the number one receiver at some point, I think.
I think like we talked about before, because Michigan struggled this year, people kind of like – it was like Florida State the last couple of years.
Yeah.
People like hesitating to take their guys because they didn't see any production. They were not utilized in their proper way. I'm going to say it one more time. That's it. I'm done talking about Michigan and Florida State. They have good athletes on the field. If their coaches don't use them in the right way, whose fault is that?
Exactly. Jordan is a very athletic tight end. I think that he's going to be a really good tight end in this league. So we'll see how it goes. But I gave the Texans a B+. A B. I thought that was a really good draft.
I thought that was a good solid draft. I did. So
exactly. Next draft we got the Arizona Cardinals. In the first round they got Davion Collins. Second round they got Rondale Moore. Fourth round they got Marco Wilson. Sixth round they got Xavier Demi-Duke-J. They also got Tay Grones, inside the Hash's interviewee. Seventh round they got James Wiggins, and they had Michael Manette. What do you think about that draft, Ray?
Gave him a C. I think I like Zaven Collins. I like Rondale Moore. I didn't like anybody else until they took James Wiggins in the seventh round. Yeah, I think James Wiggins was a guy who should have been taken earlier in day 3. Mm-hmm. I think Tay Gowan from UCF is a guy who can play on special teams. I don't see him as anything much more than that, than maybe a slot or a dime coverage guy. Demukwe from Duke is undersized, and I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in him being a starting caliber player. I think Marco Wilson, again, is a cornerback who went to Florida who has some talent. But, again, he's a slot kid. He may do some things on special teams for you, but you took him in the fourth round. You overdrafted him. And I like their first 2 picks. I do. I like their first 2 picks, and I like James Wiggins. But between them picks, I wasn't excited. Again, like I look at it like when I watch the draft, and even after I look at the draft, like who they took, I look at guys like, well, that guy excites me, or that guy I can see fitting their scheme perfectly. I don't see a lot of that with their draft. So
I agree. I gave him a C+. Xavier Collins is another versatile guy that they're gonna put on their defense. They have not been doing well with versatile guys on the defense the last couple of years. And they keep trying to get guys that can do multiple things, and it just haven't really panned out for them. And they just lost the one that did pan out for them, which was the guy from Temple. Blanking on his name right now. But Rondale Moore, I think he's going to be a good receiver. I think that's my favorite pick of this draft. I think that he's going to be really good for them. He's going to have some competition, obviously, because, they got AJ Green now. They got, obviously, the guy from the Texans.
Yeah.
But they I like that pick. I actually think Tay Grones is going to play over Marco Wilson actually in the slot. I like him better than Marco Wilson actually. I think Marco Wilson, he's all right. The best pick outside of the first 2, definitely James Wiggins. I think he could have got drafted a lot earlier, like you said, Ray. So I do like those picks, but I gave him a C+. It's very hard for me to see how. Again, another team that won't have a lot of starters. I mean, Jeremy Collins is probably the only starter they have from this draft.
I mean, I like Rondale Moore. I do. I think as a slot guy and a guy that can really help you on special teams. But after that, I think that what they did is they wanted to get an impact linebacker, which they did because I like Xavier Collins. Yeah. They wanted to get someone to add something to the offense with Rondale Moore. They did that. And after that, I think they kind of just took defensive guys that don't really fit what they do. So we'll see how it translates. I don't have faith in. I thought the Cardinals were one of them teams that were going to be better this year.
Mhm.
I worry about them now. I'm not sure if they got the right direction, that head coach. So
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, next team is the Indianapolis Colts. First round pick, they got Kwity Paye. Second round pick, they got Adele Odeingbo. Fourth round pick, they got Kellen Granson. Fifth round pick, they got Sean Davis. Sixth round pick, they got Sam Ellinger. Seventh round pick, they got Mike Sarchan, and Will Fries. Ray, what do you think about the draft?
I gave him a C+.
Yeah.
I thought the Kwity Paye was a good, solid pick. I think Odeingbo from Vanderbilt is an interesting prospect. I don't mind him.
Yeah.
I don't like Colin Granson. I think he was a
way too early.
Fifth or maybe even a sixth round pick.
Yeah.
Sean Davis, a safety from Florida, I think is okay. He's only solid though. He doesn't do it again. He doesn't excite me at all. Sam Ellinger is not an NFL quarterback, and Michael Stratham, I think, is an okay player, has some upside, but I'm not excited about him. And Will Fries was a free agent to me. I don't think anything. He doesnn't do anything exceptional.
Yeah.
So
I gave him a C. I know you gave him a C+. I gave him a C. Kwity Paye was the only pick I liked of those.
I agree with that. Kwity Paye is the one guy I think can come in here and help them out like right away, probably.
Exactly. I don't like their picks. Sam Ellinger, yes, he's a 6th round pick, but he's not. We talked about this all last year, Ray. He is so inconsistent. And something I said on the Aired Out podcast a few weeks ago, and I got kind of killed for it. I said I compared Ellinger to Tim Tebow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great comparison.
He's Tim Tebow, and
he's a right-handed Tim Tebow. Now his arm is a little bit like he does have a little bit short of a release. And if I could see you using him in some wildcat formations, though, because I think that's where he could excel. Yeah. But again, you take him in the you're assuming, even though he was a 6th round pick, could he develop into a solid backup quarterback? I guess he could. But I'm not an Ellinger fan, dude. We've talked about his inconsistency for the last 3 years. So,
I agree. But the thing is, too, because obviously they got Carson Wentz in the trade. I believe they still have the starter from last year. What's his name? The guy from the Patriots.
Not Jacoby Brissett, right?
Yeah. They still have him.
He's on Miami now, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, they did draft a quarterback last year too, though. Forget his name.
They did. I don't remember who that was, though.
He's going to be a solid second. He's going to be a solid backup. The guy they got last year. From SMU. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name. But yeah, Sam Ellinger is not going to get on the field. He's going to be the 3rd quarterback.
Right.
And again, your 3rd quarterback being Tebow-esque, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. So I don't really like Sam Ellinger. But let's move along. We got 2 more teams, guys. So bear with us. We got the Las Vegas Raiders, and Ray, we talked about this intensely last time, but I want to give you a grade on them. First round, they got Alex Leatherwood. Second round, they got Tevin Mugweg. Third round, they got Malcolm Cousins. Another third round pick, they got Divine Diablo. Fourth round pick, they got Tyreek Gillespie, inside the Hashes interviewee. Fifth round pick, they got Nate Hobbs, and seventh round pick, they got Jimmy Morsey. Ray, what do you think about the draft?
I gave him a C+. I think Alex Leatherwood was a horrible pick. I'm not even saying that he won't play because he probably will play.
Mm-hmm.
But to take him in the first round with the 17th pick was an abomination. Okay. I love Trayvon Moring though. I think that was a good pick.
Yeah.
I think Malcolm Coots is versatile. I don't think he should have been taken before day 3 though.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tyreek Gillespie probably more than Diablo, so that tells you what I think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Hobbs does not do a whole lot for me.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Morsey from Pittsburgh is a developmental kid that may be able to back up for you down the road. But again, I gave him a C+. I like, if I look at their draft picks, I like one. It's not that I don't like Malcolm Kuntz. I just don't think he should have been taken before round 4. I think he can add some things as like an off-ball linebacker or pass rusher. So he kind of fits what they like to do. But again, just too early for me. I like Morwig. I think Morwig was their best pick. I think Gillespie was their second best pick. And again, I only gave him a C+ because I think that as much as I don't like Alex Leatherwood, I think he'll play.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll play well. And unless you just stick him at right tackle and let him take his lumps, I mean, I just don't know. How is that helping out your quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, I
agree.
I thought that was a horrible pick. So
yeah, right. We talked about this before. Even though you gave him a C+, I'm gonna give him a C. Even though I agree is exactly what you said. Their best two picks is Tavion Morway and Tyreek Gillespie. I think they were really good picks. Everybody else was drafted way too high. Alex Leatherwood at 17. That's crazy. I do like Jimmy Morsay a little bit better than you do, Ray. So I do like that pick as a 7th-round pick. But everything else was just felt way too high. They got a lot of DBs. They got 4 DBs. 3 of them are safeties.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Ray, I don't know, Ray. We both love what's his name, but I don't know whether they're up, Ray.
No, I like Mike Mayock, man.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll be honest with you, Jerome. I saw an interview with him after, like, on the NFL, the morning show on the NFL Network.
Yeah,
and I like them guys because I kind of like to see what they think about everything. And I like Mike Mayock, but him sitting out there saying, "Well, I don't really care what anybody thinks." You know what? That's great. You should not care what you should be convicted with the players you picked. But to me, this is where GM's getting in trouble, though, man. Like, if you're the only one that thought that was a good pick, you're probably not right. Okay?
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get to the LA Rams. Their 2nd-round pick, they didn't have a 1st-round pick. The 2nd-round pick was Tutu Atwell, inside the hashes interviewee. 3rd-round pick, they got Ernest Jones. 4th-round pick, they got Bobby Brown 3rd. They also got Robert Rochelle, Jacob Harris. 5th round, they got Ernest Brown the 4th. 7th round, they got Jake Funk, Ben Skoranek, and they got Chris Garrett. Ray, what do you think about this draft?
I gave the Rams. I think I gave them a C also, Jerome.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I gave them a C. Yeah, I gave them a C- actually. I like Tutu Atwell. They took him too early. He's a good slot player. I mean, I don't understand why they would do that because they're another team that needed to draft offensive linemen and they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's surprising to me. Ernest Jones is a guy who may come in and help you on special teams. I don't think he's a starting caliber linebacker. Bobby Brown, I think, is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Rochelle, I think, is okay. Jacoby Harris, I think they're going to play H-back. I think he has a little upside there. Mm-hmm. Ernest Brown, edge from Northwestern, does not do a whole lot for me. I like Skoranek, but he went to Notre Dame. I like him as a special teams guy and a locker room guy. Yeah. Again, I gave him a C-. I didn't think their draft was that great. I didn't. So
I gave him a same exact grade, Ray. Tutu Atwell, again, we interviewed him. Great guy. Way too small. I think that he was I had him at like 3rd, maybe 4th round. Yeah. This is the spot where I think Nico Collins could have went. And even then, that pick would have been still a luxury pick because, like you said, Ray, they should have got offensive line. And they didn't get one at all. That was questionable. Jacoby Harris, actually like him in this offense, actually. They're going to use him a lot in that H-back position with Sean, what's your head coach? Sean
McVay.
Sean McVay, yeah. I think he's going to really utilize him, especially once he gets, acclimated in the offense and stuff like that. So I actually like that pick. All the other picks was like, okay, all right. Yeah. Rochelle, a guy that we seen at the Senior Bowl, didn't like me. It didn't show much for me, to be honest. Jake Funk is not going to get on the field. I can just tell you that he's not going to get on
I
the
just
field.
think if you're the Rams, you could have taken Nick Bolton there. You could have improved your linebacker depth. You could have taken a Pete Werner there again to improve your linebacker there. A Carlos Basham, you could play the defensive line. Creed Humphrey, Josh Myers, they could have addressed some offensive line issues, maybe bump some other guys around. I just thought that they took a luxury slot receiver who is not going to be anything exceptional right now. And to me, you made a move for a new quarterback with the ideas of you want to win right now, right? And these moves don't help you do that, I don't think. So
yeah, I totally agree. All right, let's get to our last team right now. That'll be the New Orleans Saints. They got a first round. They got Peyton Turner. Second round pick, they got Pete Warner. Third round pick, they got Paul Adobo. Fourth round pick, they got Ian Book. Sixth round pick, they got Landon Young. And then I was about to say the other Landon. And the seventh round pick, they got Kawan Baker. Ray, this is the last team that we're talking about. You said there was another D team.
That's the team.
There it is.
I almost wish Ben was listening right now, to be honest with you. I mean, I had them taking Quiddy Pay, and he got all upset with me. They took Peyton Turner instead? Wow, that's great. I mean, dude, I don't – Pete Werner, who was a solid player 2 years ago, last year regressed, wasn't as good. Paulson Odebo, who actually is the player that I like the best out of all of their picks. So I think he has some plus side as a guy who can play some safety, some nickel dime corner. I think he's a good football player. Ian Book in the fourth round? Really? Wow. And I love it though, because I heard an interview with Sean Payton last week saying, oh man, he reminds me a lot of Drew Brees. Does every small white quarterback remind him of Drew Brees, dude?
Oh my goodness, you just say that.
Dude, I just honestly, here's my thing, Jerome, and I know we're running a little long here. I'm going to make this a little short-winded. When you say dumb things like that, you shouldn't be a coach anymore. And I know Sean Payton is a great coach and he's a great play caller, but if he's looking for, it's like drafting Mac Jones because you want the next Tom Brady. You think Ian Book? Did you watch them play in college? They are so different. It's night and day.
No, 100% right.
I mean,
Ian Book's the running quarterback. He'll get out of the pocket faster than anything.
Drew Brees is not a running quarterback. He's a guy who moves well in the pocket and moves with his head, without a doubt. But his accuracy is ridiculous. I mean, that is the thing. Like, Ian Book is a good athlete who's not accurate.
I don't know how you did that comparison, dude, but I agree.
I heard that, man, honestly, Jerome, and I was like, wow, dude, I would like to just sit here. I would love to have conversation with these coaches when they say things like that or it's so stupid. I'd be like, dude, I'm a Notre Dame fan. Did you watch Ian Book play? Because when he gets out of the pocket, he's not accurate.
Yeah.
When he's in the pocket, he's not accurate enough.
Fourth rounder, right?
Fourth round. For a guy who actually some people thought was going to be an undrafted free agent.
I gave him a D as well, Ray. This is my worst grade. I didn't give anybody else a D except for this guys. On the trend of also just how they've been, a couple of years ago they got Marcus Davenport in the first round. It seemed like the same thing they're doing with Peyton Turner, a prodigy defensive end that don't have a lot of good experience against big competition, rather. Pete Warner, I think he's fine. I don't love him. I think he's great. I think he'd be okay. Paulson Adebo is my favorite pick of this draft. Like you said, Ray, I think he's going to be a solid player. I think that he can actually go. I know you kept saying slot guy. I think he can be a second cornerback, to be honest. I'm a little bit higher than you are with him. I think he was a first round. He could have been a first round pick last year. I think that he's
injury concerns though.
That's
the one bad thing about him.
He does. He does have injury concerns. Ian Book is a terrible pick. we're just gonna move along. Everything you say, Ray, if it's Landon Young, I don't hate him. He's okay. And Kawan Baker, I feel the same way with him. He's okay guy. He's a 7th round pick. Probably won't even. He'd probably be a special teamer to be in anything else. But yeah, the Saints draft's been really, really questionable the last couple of years.
I mean, can I just run by this real quick?
Yeah.
Peyton Turner overdrafted. Pete Werner overdrafted. Paulson Adebo, good pick.
Yeah.
Ian Book, dumb. Landon Young should have been undrafted free agent, and Kewan Baker, like you said, he's okay.
Yeah.
So what can I give you besides the D?
Yeah. No, I agree, Ray. That bad picks, Ray. That was definitely the head scratching one. I feel like between them and the Seahawks, they fighting for worst draft picks every year.
They were the two teams. They were the two teams I had with D's, both of them.
Yeah, they've been two of the worst draft grades the last couple of years. So I don't know what's going on with those teams. We'll see, man. We'll see. Maybe we could be wrong for once, but guys, thank you guys for being here. This has been a long podcast. We hope that we informed you. We hope that we gave you some great information. We're going to start moving on to college football next week. So check that out, man. We're going to start doing some previews on some teams, some rumors that we might have heard that's going on with some of these teams and things like that. So please make sure you go check that out. Again, we're going to be on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So make sure you go in there. And if you're on YouTube, please go like and subscribe. Please, please, please. We really do appreciate that, guys. Also, make sure you check us out on all our social media, Inside the Hashes on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and all the players that we interviewed that got drafted and some undrafted free agents that we interviewed as well. You can go check all those guys out on all our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else that you listen to your podcast. Go in there, check them out, and put in Inside the Hatches / that player's name. If you're looking for a specific player, you can find them on there, or you can just put in Inside the Hatches and look at that list. But guys, we're gonna be out of here today. I am hungry, so I'm gonna go eat, guys. I hope you had a great Memorial Day. Thank you for all our listeners, including Chuck, who was giving some good comments in here. Thank you guys so much, and we see you next week. Have a good one.